Hello folks, my name is Russell Longcore and I'm one of the founding members of the Flexcom America leadership team. And what I want to do today is to walk you through an example of a transaction that happens with a Flexcom merchant so that you can see where the money goes. And if you're a person who is looking at becoming a global team member with Flexcom, you're going to want to know this information because it's important, because everyone else that you're going to want to talk to is going to want to know this information too. Specifically the merchants that you begin to talk to. They're going to want to find out how this works, because those merchants are going to be looking at this and crunching the numbers and figuring out just how great this is for them, but they still have to crunch the numbers. They're going to have to look at this and in the understanding of their own margins and their own markups on their own products. So let's look at this example. And if you're in a situation where you need to explain this to someone, you have two choices. You can either learn all this and explain it, or you could just simply send them this video. My suggestion is let me do it for you, and you just send them the video. So having said that, let's take a look at the example. I'm going to use the example today of a butcher shop that is a Flexcom participating merchant. And so let's look at this together. Let's look at this example. Somebody comes in and makes a $100 purchase, and the merchant, the butcher, has already determined that he's going to give away a 10% gross cashback. Now, the reason I say it's a gross cashback is because in the Flexcom system, of the Flexcom program, half of it goes to the customer, half of it goes to Flexcom. So if the merchant decides that he's going to give a 10% cashback, that means that 5% or half goes directly to the customer when they scan their Flex app at his terminal. So the customer pays for the meat, pays that $100, and then from the point of sale terminal that the merchant has, the merchant will go directly next to it, which is where the Flexcom terminal is, and he'll punch in the numbers. The customer will take his cell phone, his mobile phone, and he'll scan the QR code, and instantly that $5 will drop into his account. Now, it works the same way if a customer has the Flexcom card. They'll just swipe the card, and at that time, instantly that $5 will go directly into their account. Okay, now as long as we're right here and talking about $5 going into the account of a customer, let's talk about the idea of the redemption of Flex money. In other words, what happens when a merchant accepts Flex money in payment for goods or services? Because that's going to happen. Let me give you the example. Here's the reason I chose a butcher. A butcher recently asked this question. He said, look, I think this is going to go really well, and I think I'm going to get a lot more customers, but some of those customers that come into my store are already going to have Flex money in their account. And so if I accept Flex money as payment for my meat, then what am I going to do when my suppliers back up to my back door and start unloading meat, and they present me with an invoice to pay for the meat? If I've got hundreds or thousands of dollars in Flex money, how am I going to pay them? Is this some kind of a frequent flyer miles kind of a thing, or is it points that accumulate, or is it a barter system? How exactly can I turn the Flex money into real US dollars so that I can pay my suppliers? This is a really important question, folks, and so I want you to make sure that you get this, because this is going to affect every transaction that has anything to do with Flexcom. And here's the answer. The answer is that when we're talking about the redemption of Flex money, at the end of every business day, Flexcom looks at the account of the merchant and sees whether or not he has taken in Flex dollars. Not that he's given them out, but he's taken in Flex money. And when he takes in or gives out Flex money, he's doing it in cash. These are not points that people get. There's a 1-to-1 ratio in Flexcom with all currencies that are used in every country. For example, here in the United States, we have the US dollar. And so all of our flex money is a one-to-one relationship with the US dollar. In Europe, it's the euro. In the UK, it's the British pound. In Russia, it's the ruble. In other countries, it's going to be something else. But in this particular situation, that $5, the 5% or half of the gross cash back gets into the customer's wallet, and if he spends that money with the butcher, then at the end of the day, Flexcom looks at his account and says, okay, the butcher took in X number of dollars of flex money, and at the end of the day, the Flexcom computers drop the equivalent amount of cash into the account of the merchant. So at the end of every day, the merchant is reconciled with real dollars that he took in flex money. That's super important, so keep that in mind. So let's get back to the example. The example is the $100 purchase, 10% gross cash back. Half of it's going to the customer. The other half goes to Flexcom. So it's 5% plus 5 makes for the total of 10% in this particular case. Now, remember something, that the merchant can determine at any given time, any day, any hour, how much his gross cashback is going to be. It could be as little as 1%. You say, well, why would somebody give away 1%? Well, think about an automobile dealer. If an automobile dealer gives away 1%, that could be hundreds of dollars on an automobile purchase, or purchase of parts, or purchase of service, or purchase of any kind of a thing. So depending on the size of the product that you're selling and your margins, you'll figure that out. But the merchant is the one that can make this determination. So this is just an example, but it's always flexible. The merchant always has the ability to make this decision at a moment's notice. So 5% goes to the customer, 5% goes to Flexcom, and here's how Flexcom has this so dialed in. This is how Flexcom splits up the money that they receive. 40% of it goes to Flexcom for their income and expenses. So in this particular situation where you've got $10 on the table, right, that 40% of 5%, or the 40% of that $5 is $2. And so in this particular example, Flexcom gets 40%, $2, which goes to their income and expenses. That leaves 60% of the remaining amount, right? 60% of 5 is $3. And here's how it's apportioned. Here's how it goes out into the field. 20% goes to the merchant. These are the commissions that the merchant's making off of the purchases that all of the card holders, all of the app holders that he has sponsored, that he's given away the app, when they go out into the community and make those purchases, then he gets 20% of those dollars coming back. The next 20 is for the Flexcom Global Team member, because the Flexcom Global Team member is the one who signed up this merchant. So the Flexcom Global Team member makes the same amount that the merchant does, which is pretty wonderful. The next 51% goes out into the comp plan, and based upon where you are, if you're a global team member, you have achieved some kind of a rank based on how big you've built your team, or how many customers that you've brought in. So in either of these situations, there's a sliding scale between 5% and 51%. Based on the size of your organization, the number of customers that you've provided, and that goes into there, and that is the comp plan. And you can see more about the comp plan at a different video than this one. The next thing is 5% that goes to a regional coordinator, and a regional coordinator is a person who handles customer service things for the merchants. And the second thing is 2%, or the next thing is a 2% override, or 2% of this money that goes to a state coordinator. And each one of the states in the United States will have a state coordinator. And finally, 2% goes to a country manager, and somewhere along the way, there's going to be a country manager that's established for the United States, and that country manager will override 2% of all of the money that comes in from all the states and from all the regions. Okay, wonderful position. I don't have it yet. Maybe I'll have that someday. So if you add up all of this over here and take a look, you add up 60 and 60 and $1.53 and 15 cents and 6 cents and 6 cents, it ends up being $3. And that $3 right there balances right here to this $3. So $3 that is the 60%, plus the $2 that's the 40%. 60 and 40 is 100%. 3 and 2 is 5. 5 and 5 is 10. So the whole thing balances. So that's the way that this works. And one of the reasons that I put this word at the bottom is this idea of being scalable is simply because of how amazing the people at the top of Flexcom are. Folks, they rolled this out 3 years ago in Europe. They made all the mistakes, just like any other kind of a beta test goes. They made all the mistakes. They fixed all the mistakes. 3 years later, we in the United States are the beneficiaries of all of the work that they've done to make this thing work flawlessly. And we've seen, and you can see at my website, if you go to my website, you can see how the system works flawlessly in the merchants' own businesses. And so the scalability is this. It's like if you're if you're an airline pilot, you'll understand this. It takes an awful lot of energy and effort to go from the full plane sitting at the end of the runway to get down the runway and take off at the other end of the runway. It takes an enormous amount of effort, takes an enormous amount of energy, takes an enormous amount of work to get that plane in the air. And then once you're in the air, if you're sitting in the pilot seat, you pull up the landing gear, and then you do something called dialing in your trim tabs. And what that is, you dial in your trim tabs so that you have straight and level flight. In other words, if you got your trim tabs correct, then when you let go of the yoke, you let go of the steering wheel, the plane doesn't crash. Now, once you've got straight and level flight, you've gotten all the bugs out, and you've gotten everything working really well. Now, all it takes is for you to add two things: speed and altitude. And that's what we're doing here in Flexcom as the Flexcom global team, is that it's now the Flexcom corporate has done all of the energy to get this together for us. Now it's up to us to add that speed and altitude and make this grow in a way that it's never grown before. So that's the scalability of this, and that's the example. And one of the things that I want us to end with is that our job, our mission, is to strengthen small business, and we're going to go out there and really honor the small businessman, because it's small business in every economy of the world. It's not just America, it's every economy. Small business is the bedrock of every economy, and if small business is not there, then business is not there. And through our efforts in Flexcom, we're going to be able to strengthen small business, we're going to be able to increase their bottom lines, and in many cases, we're going to be able to look at a business that was teetering on the edge of going out of business, and because we brought them this new stream of income, they're going to be able to continue in business and flourish and prosper. So let me finish by saying this. This is Russel Longcore, founding member of the Flexcom leadership team. I'm delighted to be able to bring this to you today. Please use this. I hope it increases your business, and thanks very much for your time. Bye-bye.